and then we get there, and then like we come through whatever, and then as I'm doing dance floor, like people were singing the words, which was bizarre. Like I was like, I did not think people would be singing with me.
Welcome back to Shotgun the Orcs podcast. It's Tom hosting solo again today. I can assure you that Aidan and Jake are very much alive and well. However, today we've got a very special guest on the podcast. It's the very talented up-and-coming artist. It's Mr. Green.
Mr. Green.
How are you doing, man?
I'm well, man. I'm well. Yourself?
Yeah, you know, man, we were just talking a minute ago. It's that kind of common response, just like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm chugging along. So, yeah.
Exactly, man. And you've just come back from uni and you're back at home now, yeah?
Yeah, I just finished my degree and I'm now back home in Watford, which is an adjustment period for sure, but I'm enjoying being back home though. Like, it's nice to know my stuff's not going anywhere, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Exactly, man. And no one's just like wandering in your room and stuff. And
yeah, literally. I still get that. Man. I'm not gonna lie, I still get that. Just different people doing it. Like, still get that.
Oh man, and just point out, it's probably like the hottest day of the year today, and we're recording a podcast.
Yeah.
Like I probably would have recorded outside, but like the glare would have been too intense. And on my road, I've got like a car garage to the left of me and opposite as well. There's like 2 fucking car garages on my street, man. So like noise would have been an issue, man. But so how's like lockdown been treating you? I mean, were you kind of did you make the move back home during lockdown?
I spent most of lockdown in Reading,
right.
Which was like my immediate life didn't change that much. As in, I still had I was doing my diss, so like I had like things to do. So like, and then the main plan of lockdown was, I'm gonna like record loads of songs and like stack up, and then that I didn't have my mic with me, so I started producing a lot during lockdown. And so now I'm back home, like putting them everything works out like in a way. So now I can come back and I can produce and then we can record on it as well. So like that's mainly what I was doing with lockdown, to be honest with you.
Man, that's good, man. I think it's been kind of a common response to a lot of, producers as well. During lockdown, it's kind of creative types generally. Not much has changed.
Not really.
Some people are using the time to like regroup and just kind of like formulating their plan of attack. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I rate that, man. I rate that. But for the people who may not know who you are, man, who is Mr. Green and what can people kind of expect from you as an artist? So
Mr. Green is explosive, loud, quite sensitive, wears his heart on his sleeve for sure. Like, it's as close to me as like I can get it. Like, certain parts are exaggerated, but it's very close to home because that's how I feel. Like, I like, in order for me to convey, like, if I'm to perform something, like I want it to be like actually mean something. Like It's easier to sell that way, I feel. So I just make the music that I like. Like, I hop on the beats that I like, and then we go from there, really.
I think that's a really kind of interesting point you brought up, wearing your heart on your sleeve, because like the latest track, Turtle Sandpit, that dropped recently through Offie Mag. Yeah. So it's kind of like on the surface, it's just kind of like a real kind of like bass heavy, up tempo, like gassed up track. But then that last verse where you spit about like being a complicated birth and all these kind of like personal things, you're like, whoa, that kind of caught me off guard. Do you know what I mean? It's like the juxtaposition of those bars on that track is just like sums it up quite well. Do you know what I mean?
I guess you said that.
Yeah.
Tyler has like a in one of his interviews, he said like for the song Mr. Lonely, one of his songs, he talks about putting the medicine in the applesauce, as in like he talks about putting like slightly darker concepts and whatnot in upbeat and happy songs, and I really, really like that. Of like it's like, oh, like you're bopping along, but like, is he alright? Like,
yeah.
So I kind of, that's what I want. So
well, it's definitely apparent, man. Just on a little like side note, so me and my boys, we during lockdown, we've got like a WhatsApp group, and we got a playlist that we add to like every day, because we're all like into music, all into kind of different genres of music. And we like spin this like virtual wheel, and whoever it lands on picks like the category. So today's category, and it sounds fucking morbid, but it was like a song to murder someone to. And applying, and people were kind of coming up with like, you know, like dark hip hop tracks and like black metal and all kinds of stuff. And I was just like, what would be like a cool little? So I went with Leslie Gore, Sunshine and Lollipops, because I thought like the juxtaposition of like murdering someone to that song would be quite comical. But I digress. But I saw you perform last year in my hometown in Bournemouth. The energy you brought was insane, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, like I hadn't heard of you before that. And it was kind of like, and big up the Easy Living lads as well. Like they smashed it that night too. But for someone who, you know, I hadn't heard of personally, and it was almost like a small scale fucking Travis Scott show the way it was going off. Do you know what I mean? I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like Raiden, shouts to Raiden, was coming through saying, just like everyone come and watch this guy. It's crazy energy. He's one to watch. And yeah, man, you fucking killed it. And I think your songs kind of really lend itself to that live experience. Is that something you kind of had in mind when you write them?
Definitely. As in, I was like, even before my first shows, I was conscious of like how is this gonna hit when I eventually perform these? How do I want these to hit? Like, first of all, I want to be able to put it on, and the beat itself is just already slapping, and then whatever I'm doing over it just adds to that. And I was talking to someone about the Bournemouth show today. That was like surreal in the sense that, like, right, so Tom and I drove to that show, Cameron came with, and then we get there, and then like we come through whatever, and then as I'm doing dance floor, like people were singing the words, which was bizarre. Like I was like, I did not think people would be singing with me. So that was that show was, I enjoyed that show a lot.
It converted me, man. I was just like, yeah, I'm a fan. Since that that joint, Socks and Sliders joint that you when I'm taking out the bins, Socks and Sliders when I'm taking out the bins, I was just like, man, that is a relatable bar. Like,
that's not even out. I need to like I'm probably gonna try and produce the beat. I could make a similar beat or a better beat myself now, and then Tom's always talking about that one. And I'm like, he's like, drop that. I'm like, nah, like, I don't know if Socks. And he's like, nah, for real. So we'll see in the future. We'll see.
Crazy, man. Do you get nervous before you perform?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it's like, I remember the first show I ever did, I wasn't nervous, and then like a couple hours before, I just like, I felt like my body was like nervous for me. Like I was just tired. I was just like suddenly just not myself. So, but I definitely get nervous every time, because like it matters, doesn't it? So I suppose there's definitely a degree of nervousness there for sure.
100%, man. I mean, fucking hell, it didn't show though. Put it that way. Do you know what I mean? It's like you embody someone else entirely when you're up there. Just kind of like, the energy, just absolutely, it was a vibe, man. But how did you like start off making music, and what's been your journey so far, man?
So I started. The first songs I was making were right. So I was listening to. So in sixth form is when I probably started consuming music, like listening to lots of different artists like Skepta, Tyler, just Mac Miller, like initial like introductions into rap, and then I was already making songs like my friends. We used to have like a WhatsApp group chat where we'd send diss tracks to each other. I've been watching like a lot of Don't Flop, and so I was initially tailoring bars for other people, and then it got to a point where I was like, it got to a point where it's like I'm just gonna make songs, because no one can tell me I won or lost on my own tune. So
it's a weird concept, isn't it? Unless you like play two people back and forth. Exactly. Join a Lucas shit, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, nah. So I was just like, no one can tell me I lost on my own tune. So I started doing that. And then the song, the song Look at Me by X.
Yeah.
That song was like I'd never heard anything like it. I remember hearing it like for the first time, and I'd never heard anything like it. And then I looked into it, and it was like he just recorded that like at home. And like I know it sounds silly, but I'd always been like, I didn't know you could record outside the studio. I didn't know it was like allowed. So like initially when I was like, oh, like I can, because I've always I was like, oh, I'm gonna make tunes, but like I'm just gonna wait. And so when I was like, I can do it myself, I started making them on Apple earphones, the first initial tunes on Audacity, and then like on my SoundCloud, more or less, it's in chronological order of
releases
when I made them.
Yeah.
So like you can hopefully hear the sound quality just get better and better. So that's how we started, I think. And yeah.
Nice, man. Because I know in for Turtle Sandpit, Karma Kid produced that, but you mentioned that you're kind of producing a lot of beats now, especially during lockdown. You've used time to do that. I guess it like gives you like the autonomy to, I guess, create what and when you want. Do you know what I mean?
It's actually so much fun. Like it's a different. I've always wanted to like it's only when I sat back and I was like, a lot of my favorite artists can rap and produce, and I kind of didn't realize it. So like Tyler makes his own beats. I now know that Baby Keem makes a lot of his own beats, like, or at the very least, if they're not making them themselves, they have a hand in the production. And so, and that was that's the part, like, I'm getting the beats from YouTube. And so that was like the one bit where I was like, if I can have the production match me, then I'm unstoppable, really. so yeah.
Would you say, you mentioned Tyler? I mean, Tyler the Creator. Would you say he was a like quite a big influence on you and your music?
Yeah, I would say.
Or mainly just getting into the genre.
I would say, to me, objectively speaking, what I most admire him for is that like his like the golf brand just spans everything he does. And so like the thing I always liked is that right, so in my car, the album I probably listen to the most is Flower Boy, because I have a physical disc in the car. So if my phone's not working or whatever, that's what I'm playing. And so I like the fact that his cover art matches the tunes, and then like everything's just cohesive, which I really like. And so like that's more that I look at him for that, of like each album, like Cherry Bomb is his I'm actually going to bad. Sorry, but like
all good, man. Nice.
Like the thing that like the like Igor itself, like the fact that he like those 4 letters, like he just made that a thing. Like he just like the wig, and like he just made a character, and then that's like a whole album. Like I love that, like how he can just do that. So yeah, I really like that.
His trajectory as an artist is like incredible, man. If you think about, I mean, when he first dropped with like Odd Future, it was kind of, he was just like kid with ADHD, skateboarded, and you know, all that kind of real like, let's just like rap about the most like fucking ignorant shit ever. Do you know what I mean? Exactly, man. Exactly, man. Like, let's piss off everyone. But then when he got to where he wanted to be, he could really kind of like
I could be myself.
Exactly, man. With some crazy concepts like Flower Boy, like the arrangements instrumentally on that record are incredible, man. And Igor, I mean, it's not really a hip hop record, is it? It's kind of more of like a soul, like a breakup record. It's just about like a relationship,
like a movie score, and I really like the last tune. You know, it's obviously an instrumental.
Yeah,
I just like that's like on certain days that hits more than any other tune. I'm just like I'm trying to hit, like I really like the way it's all laid together, like the blends into each tune, like in terms of like albums, like a body of work, like not just 10 songs, but like a cohesive body of work. I look at him for that like a lot. So,
but you hit the nail on the head with the kind of branding and like how it's all cohesive, like Camp Flognor, you know, golf. I mean, it's just a universe he's created for himself. Do you know what I mean? It's mad, man.
Yeah,
I really rate that. But no, man, I think Slow Tie was on Igor as well, wasn't he? Like a little uncredited.
So much to see him on Igor was like, I see the light. I was like, what? That's like, I was so gassed. So yeah.
Slow Tie is another one. He's just kind of doing his own thing, isn't he? Especially in the UK, like he just kind of broke free of those kind of like parameters that you would expect from like a UK rapper. He's branched out more into kind of punk and all kinds of different. It's just hybrid, isn't it? He's just doing his thing, and I guess that's probably why he's, reached the levels of success he has so quickly.
He's another one where, like the song, his song "Enemy," I like the fact that, like, I like the song itself.
Yeah.
But then the fact that he dropped it at the same time as Boris's address to the nation, he dropped it at 7 on a Saturday, and I was like, I like that, first of all. And then Enemy, and like the fact that he was addressing the NME Awards controversy, I was like, it's little things like that where I'm just like, love that. And then he put in the so tired, you're cancelled, and then like obviously has that little voice, like things like that in the song I really like. It just makes it a bit more like interesting, I guess. So
it's self-aware as well, isn't it? It's exactly. Like he could just be like, you could brush off that. Do you know what I mean? You could think, oh fuck it, I'm a celebrity now. But he's used it and channeled it into creating something.
Yeah, which is what you're meant to do, I think. At the end of the day, like I feel like that's what you're supposed to do, really. Like
100%, man. You are your experiences in the day. Do you know what I mean? That's what make you, and like. Especially in a creative sense, but that shit he did with Denzel Curry as well, man. Like, and fucking just Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats. That's fucking Unlocked. Did you hear Unlocked?
Yeah. I like that Unlocked, bro. Damn, just like man, on a complete left foot, like everyone's doing this. All right, cool. We're finna rap like DMX. Like, it's crazy, like crazy.
And that ties into what you were saying about like a really well curated project, like the cover art. And I think that, just to draw a parallel with what you're doing, just if anyone was to search for Mr. Green on Spotify, then the singles that you've dropped, Rugrat, Immature or Immature, however you want to read it, Dance Floor, it's all very kind of cohesive. It's all.
Appreciate that.
The art looks good. It's like this guy knows what he's doing.
Appreciate that.
And I think, especially in like the independent circuit, something like that is very kind of, you really need to think about. You know?
I'm conscious of I don't want, like I do all my cover art on paint, and like I've now got to a point where it's like I don't. Like, what else am I going to use at this point? Like, I literally just like, I know, like, the dance floor cover. I went to Mum. I was like, Mum, do you like this? And she's like, well, it's got nothing to do with a dance floor. And then I was like, no, but like, I really like the picture. Like, it will just go. And then she was like, no. And then I was like, and then I did it, and it was like, I know what I'm looking for, cover art wise as well, because like I feel like that's often neglected in terms of like that's what you click on to listen to what like. Surely that needs to be fire as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Some thought needs to go into it. Like, I'm not just gonna have me with like a gun, cash, like like it's not.
It's been done.
And the other thing that I think Tupac says, which I like, he says that he never drops the year of the car in his songs because it dates it, and he was like, you never He was like, like for me to use the dance floor cover is timeless in the sense that like it's just a picture, like you don't know when that was made, kind of thing. Whereas if I use I don't like using, even though I did for Rugger, I don't always like using pictures of me because it just dates it at a certain time, or like a cartoon will just always. I like that kind of thing of just making it timeless, trying to make it timeless. That in 50 years time, like you won't be able to tell when it was made, kind of thing. So,
yeah, man. There's nothing ages a like a film or a song more than like references to technology. Do you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Yeah, and it's just like, oh my god, yeah, you've just taken me out of it. But no, that's a really like considered approach, and that you've obviously thought a lot about it.
Try to do.
Turtle Sandpit. Speaking of kind of visual media and the significance of visual media as like an independent artist, so you put a video out with Offie Mag. Shouts to those guys, what they're doing. They really put the work in, man.
Like, just to say, like behind the scenes as well, like they help put me on to people that they know, like that do similar things to them. That they've actually been really helpful, and so I appreciate them for sure.
Nah, I've not met them, but we've spoken over like email and stuff. They always send us stuff and like press kits and stuff. They're really cool guys, man. I really rate what they're doing. But the video drop with those guys. and it's kind of shot. I read on your mobile phone,
Yeah.
and a bit of blue tack, very kind of DIY. It's all like fisheye lens, kind of high energy. Was that your first music video? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I done on my Instagram. I done like trillers. So I done like, and I done fisheye. I try and honestly be as meticulous. Like everything, I'm not gonna do things for the sake of it. As in, like I don't even like my friend Tom's trying to get like I don't even like promote. Like my ideal point is where I can get to a point where I can just give a label the songs and the cover and just be like, can you promote it? Like I don't even. I just want to be like, it's here. This is the art. Like watch it, enjoy it. And like, I'm not. The second it feels forced, I don't want to do it because it's not like I don't feel like that's where I produce my best work. So with the video, I was very conscious of like, how can we make this like? How can I show myself, like and make that span 3 minutes, like and make it fire? Like how am I gonna do that? And so the initial video was like just trying to have natural stuff, like just things I actually do, and then we'll just put that in. So
yeah, man.
It was
what's the concept? What's the concept behind like the name? Turtle Sandpit.
It's funny, right? So I had my first session. I've had a couple sessions with Karma Kid now, and Turtle Sandpit was made in the second one. So the first session I had is when I'd first met him. Like it was my first time in a proper studio. Like it was just like I'd literally gone like all dance floor, all of them up to Turtle Sandpit were made in my room, and like I'd put them out like. You know, like I hadn't dealt with any politicking or anything. Like it's just me doing it. So the initial meeting with Karma Kid was like, it was a lot. And so then we did. Like I enjoyed it though. But the initial song we made was okay. Like I enjoyed it, but like I wrote it in the studio. And so coming off of that session, I was like, next time I come, I want to have like something on the blueprint. So then I got I got a song called Big Lip Bandit. And then I got to like kind of listening to that, like, oh, like where was I? Like, and then the concept of Turtle Sandpit was like, I still feel like similar to Rugrat, I still feel like a big child. Like as much as I'm like adult, like I don't know what's good. You know, like I'm still.
No, we all are, man. We all are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's face it, man.
That's where I think the concept kind of started. And then I didn't realize until afterwards that that resonated with people, as in like I didn't realize everyone. I remember having a Turtle Sandpit growing up, and that's the initial line of "Still the kid inside my Turtle Sandpit." Like haven't changed. And then like once I got the ball rolling, like I was just like, oh, like he was candid method to the metal, what? And so then we went from there.
I'll rate that, man. It's just like a little like fond like childhood memory.
Yeah,
it's, like
for sure.
Creates and grows and manifests into like a bigger concept. But and as I said, like the last verse about like it gets really like almost like introspective and personal, and it's just like whoa, you know, like and we talked about that.
No, I was gonna say I wrote the song from like because I was aware that I was gonna make it. Like I was aware that this song was put through Orchard. Like it's just a different like I was aware that the song might be on a different platform, so I was like, how can I introduce myself to the masses? Essentially, was the thought behind this song of like when people ask the question like, who is Mr. Green? Like I'm the Big Lip Bandit. Like yeah, like everything I said in there, I was like, what are you on? Like what are you actually on as an artist? And so that's where that song came from. And so I'd just been talking to Mum about she always used to joke that the only time I was quiet was directly after birth because I came out. That's the only.
I shouldn't laugh because it's like, but you're still here now. But do you know what I mean?
She said that's the only time where you weren't making some form of noise, and then from there, like, I should have known what I was dealing with. That was my. So that was fresh.
Calm before the storm.
Pardon?
Calm before the storm.
Yeah, literally. So and then, one little in the song after I say got a bit tangled. The ad lib is that right? And Karma Kid and I we went and changed that because it was something else initially, And then, as explained to me by mum, my understanding was that like I was trapped with the umbilical cord. I was feet first, and mum was like, it wasn't like that. So that is that right? It's like a little seed of doubt in there. Like, and because mum was like, that's not how it happened. Like I was like, but that's what you told me. She's like, no, it wasn't. But she was like, yeah, it was just a tricky situation. So.
Gives it a little bit of like mystery as well, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, did it really happen? Like, did it happen that way? Do you know what I mean? But I think like with that song and like the rest of the songs you've released at the moment, it's kind of, they demonstrate that you know how to, and this is kind of uncommon for a lot of artists. Like, you know how to construct a song. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just kind of bars, beat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you've got like you've got verse, bridge, hooks, and like big fucking hooks as well. And what we said earlier about translate into like the live kind of performances.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's crazy how you've already nailed the live aspect of your kind of approach to being as an artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people struggle with that side of it. It's like, all right, I've got the bars, I've got the music, I'll put myself out there online. But then when it comes to like the live aspect,
it's dry. Like, yeah,
exactly.
I've always been like,
born performer.
I've always been performing like, it's kind of second nature in the sense that like it's not like I'm nervous before, but like I know what I'm trying to do. I know I'm trying to do. That, being completely honest, I know what I'm trying to do. I know that that's what it comes down to the songs themselves. As in like, if I believe what I'm saying and like I'm on the dance floor, I wrote them. I'm gonna spit them a certain way. Like it's easy to deliver them with some conviction. So, and that's all I'm looking to do, really. So, yeah. But the performance, the thing I'm working on is the press releases, putting a release together, like getting eyes on it. That's what I'm looking at. But in terms of actually performing, like, I haven't had a problem with that. Like at any point, really.
That's like the hardest part's already done. Then you've already overcome that. I mean, as I said, a lot of artists, that's like, you know, the hardest challenge to overcome is like the live performance. But it's kind of taking it back to the essence, isn't it? It's taking it back to kind of like hip hop as an art form. Before like recording anything, fundamentally, it's just performing, isn't it? It's kind of like
it's meant to be heard, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
like, you know, and like watched, like dance floor off of shows. Like the Bournemouth show was a prime example of like that song had like a second wind in attention after I started performing it more, because I think from where like Immature, I love the tune, but like to perform it, like the hook comes once, whereas dance floor, that hook is simple and you hear it 3 times. So by the end, I'm on the dance. People, I'm like with me, and like you on the dance floor too, like is it like they're with it? So like
man, it's like a interactive experience. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, everyone. Yeah, man, I felt that. But like the kind of what I've heard of your stuff, like the exception to the others, which are all kind of very like up tempo and like bass heavy and like banging. Mrs. Green 2, so which is it's kind of slowed right down. You've got that nice kind of like soul vocal sample, and it's very like very mellow. I love the bar where you say, I'm not a villain or a pig like Percy. I'm just like, oh my god, man, that just cracked me up. But is that like what was the kind of influence behind that song? Was that about anyone in particular, or
it's def about someone in particular? But like I had like to keep it up. But when I wrote that song, was just like there was a point where I was just like, and I'm now like there was a point where I was just like, why am I not with something like what's wrong with me, bro? Like what? You know what I was just like what is actually like? I'm seeing people around me in relationships that won't last, like that. Like I'm just like, what? Like what? Where? Like I'm actually just here. And so then I heard the beat, and then I done Mrs. Green, like the first one, and so I was like, this would just be a complete left field following I believe it's Rugrat off the top of my head. So yeah, the like that song was just like, I'm just gonna like over the top explain how I'm feeling and just exaggerate it and then the like once I had the verse, it was just like it just fit. Like as I was writing it, I was just like, oh, I obviously needed to get this off my chest because I was just writing stuff, and then like I was planning to do a second verse on it, and it was just like, nah, like I've said everything I need to say. So yeah, that was kind of my thought process behind that song for sure. So
yeah, man. I mean, like what I said earlier about your stuff being kind of it all ties together really, really well, like seamlessly. And what I've heard so far kind of demonstrates that you're carving your own lane. Like you've got the kind of
appreciate that
trappy, almost like beats that you would associate maybe with like trap or like mumble rap and stuff like that. But you've got that like quintessential Britishness over the top of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I think
I've always wanted that. Always wanted that.
That like, contrast works really well, man.
Appreciate that.
So, is there anyone else that you're like listening to at the moment, or anyone in particular that you kind of draw influence from? Doesn't even have to be like hip hop. Do you listen to any other genre, for example?
Yeah. I proper shout out Tom. Tom is like Tom's our best friend. Like me and him are like polar opposites in the sense that like, so meeting him at uni was like, I'm overconfident and black and bullshit, and then he's middle class, white and gay, and so like me and him are just like we just can't conflict. Like we just like we get all like we butt heads, but in the best way. Like we just see completely different perspective, and I needed to meet him for sure. And he put me on like Tame Impala, like more like what is it? Like I'm listening to Charlie XCX's album, like just things that I never would have been like. What is this? Like I'm more clued up with different stuff as a result of him. So I love Bakar is another one. Like just I think he's sick. I love his album, the Bad Kid album. So I'm listening to lots of different stuff as well. And then rap wise, Freddie Gibbs to me is like, I watched his Cave episode, and truthfully speaking, I didn't know people could like. I watched that, and afterwards I was just like, right, well, I can just rap better then. Like I didn't realize people could rap like he's just really good at rapping. Like he sounds sick. And I know that's so simple, but like he's just good at rapping. And so I was like, okay, well I can I'm trying to rap like that. Like switch up the flows, just have it cohesive, breath control.
Yeah.
Like, and
it's assertive, isn't it? It's like what he's saying, you just tune into because it's delivered with such intensity and like in such sincerity, man. And I saw him and Madlib in London.
Oh yeah.
Off the back of Bandana, yeah. No, and it was incredible, man. It was just obviously like he was just up there, like just his delivery. It was just straight rapping. It was just the two of them. There was no kind of like bells and whistles. It was just the two of them up there. And he was up there just kind of like, it was just, absolutely smashed it.
He's in like,
he's a G.
He and what is it? The new one, Alfredo.
With the Alchemist.
That was like I moved back home, and I was like, I wasn't myself when I moved back home. I was just like, it's nothing like I was like, I'm never gonna see my friends. Like I don't want to be here. Like, and then it was just like now a couple of weeks on, it's not that deep. Like But that album dropped around then, and I proper needed that of just like. Just something to like. I needed that, so that album, I'm loving Alfredo at the moment.
Yeah, man, like the kind of like mafioso vibes. And even like the artwork with just like the pasta. It's just so simple but so effective. Do you know what I mean?
Love that.
And obviously the Alchemist is like just killing everything right now.
Here's one with Action. Have you heard Lamb Over Rice?
Yeah, man, Action Bronson.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, man, he did Lulu with Conway as well. And,
been running Lulu as well.
Yeah,
I want one with like I need West Side Gun. I need an Alchemist, Conway the Machine. I need a full. There's one with Boldy's good as well. That I like soon. I can't remember the name of it, but the Boldy Vince Staples one on that album.
Yeah,
Surf and Turf or something. I think it's a Surf and Turf.
Vince Staples. It's interesting you just brought him up. Because like that same kind of energy you know, you give off at your live show is very similar to someone like Vince Staples. You know,
I appreciate that. Look, he's one of
and he is. And if anyone's listening and hasn't checked out his videos, I suggest you go and fucking do that straight away, because that guy, you can tell he thinks everything through really
exactly.
well.
That's what I appreciate. Like, nothing's random. Like, it's just like he's thought out, which I really like. I appreciate. I respect it. It makes the music better anyway. Where it's just a bit more like the fun video, like with like that's on Google Maps, isn't it? Like, oh, I love it. That, like, oh man, like,
levels, man. So and I think it's again like that music where you need to dig a little bit deeper beneath the surface to really appreciate it. Like, on the surface level, it's just like, this is just a club tune. Do you know what I mean? This is just a fucking something you're banging out of a sub, and it's like loud, bassy music. Yeah. But then you actually listen to it, and it's supplemented with the video, and you're invested in it. And it's like, oh wow, this is something like actually very, very special. So yeah, big up Vince Staples, man. He is fucking ridiculous.
To your point, I've always felt that way about Live Sheck West, Die Sheck West, as in, you know Mo Bamba, like his big one, Sheck West. Yeah. But he, to me, Live Sheck West, Die Sheck West is his best tune. Like, that's my. Have you heard that at all? That one?
I haven't, man. No.
That's like similar to what you said. It's like a club banger, and like it slaps. But then what he's actually saying, he's talking about his life in Harlem, like growing up, having to do certain things, and like, you know, it's one of them where you're loving it, but you're actually listening. You're like, okay, it's a bit deeper than what I originally thought. And the concept of Live Sheck West, Die Sheck West, like, I'm coming in how I came, like I'm leaving how I came in, sort of thing. Like, I like. So yeah, I like songs like that for sure.
Yeah, man. Do you like Black Hippie as well? You know, like Kendrick and J-Rock and Absol, those guys.
Yeah,
man. That J-Rock album that dropped last year, a couple of years ago.
I listened to some of it. I like, it came on, like, I played it randomly, and I was like, oh, like, I need to listen to more J-Rock, and I haven't finished it, so I'm gonna go back and listen to that for sure.
That's good though. It's nice to have like you know, stuff to go back to. Like you mentioned, Griselda, like their back catalogue is massive. It's huge, and it's like there's so much stuff that you can't even get because it's only available on like hard copy and like cassette and like random formats and stuff. Yeah, man. Like, because they're really culty obviously before, and they've obviously found quite a lot of, like, I guess, commercial success, even though they're still so like gutter. Do you know what I mean? They're you know. But you know, they're making music with some like really big producers, and they're getting a lot of kind of radio play, and they're like the next kind of recognized the next big thing. Dropping,
like, I'm like, this. Oh, you lot have been doing this. Oh, you lot have just been like. I'm thinking it's new, and really I'm quite aggressively late, really, to everything they've been doing. Yeah. They've been on it, so
a lot of us were, man. A lot of us were. Do you know what I mean? It's and this is what I mean. Like before, you know, I mean, Griselda only dropped their, I guess, debut collective record, but as a label, they've been dropping project after project for so long. Do you know what I mean? The three of them respectively, and before that, as I said, loads of kind of like limited edition projects that are really hard to get your hands on, and only like super fans would know how to kind of, you know, win them. It's fucking crazy, man. Like,
that's how you build a cult fan base, though, isn't it? That's how you get. Like,
they've done that themselves. Like, they've curated all of that, and they thought about it. Do you know what I mean?
That's Westside. I watched his he did a FaceTime interview, and like when I like learning more about him, like his influences, like he's heavy into wrestling and like art, and I was like, just seeing him think, I was like, oh, okay, this makes a bit more sense. Like, you're more than just a street dude. Like, you feel like he's clued up, which I really respect.
Yeah, man,
really respect.
He was at like Paris Fashion Week and everything, wasn't he? And obviously his artwork as well was very well thought out. But that, when he said wrestling, that track WrestleMania, is it WrestleMania on, you know, the Supreme Blind Hell album with Anderson
I haven't heard that one, to be fair.
I heard man, yeah, check it.
Okay.
No, not its most recent. It's a couple of years old.
Okay.
It's Supreme Blind Tales, the album, but yeah, it's a real like mellow track with Anderson .Paak, who's obviously a G.
He's so good though. He's another one. I watched him at Reading, and that was the two friends I went with were like I knew of him, but like watching him perform, I was just like, oh, he's different. Like he's actually like he's a musician. Like he really does this. Like yeah, I really like Anderson .Paak.
Yeah, man. Did you hear that track Lockdown that he released last week?
No, I know it came out. I'm late. I haven't checked that.
Yeah, man. It's hard sometimes, isn't it? Like there's so much music to kind of consume and digest, and obviously like doing like a hip hop podcast, it's like you need to kind of keep your ear out to things, but you can't hear everything. You can't dedicate enough time. You know, there's not enough.
Yeah, it's
time.
hard, and I feel guilty, and it's like I'm trying to make my own tunes as well, and then like it's tricky.
That's your excuse, though. To be fair, like as an artist, it must be difficult to almost listen to too much because you don't want to subconsciously influence what you do by listening to other people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like
exactly
listening to too much hip hop. You might think like, oh shit, you know, I should be doing something like that or something like this, and it might be a detriment. I don't know how you work, but I can imagine it could be a bit distracting.
I think when I'm trying to, if I'm truthfully, like if I'm really focused on a single, then I'm just not listening to anything else. Like not as like a flex or like just like a time thing. I'm not focused on it. Like I'm just solely focused on what I'm doing. But in the meantime, like I'm more listening to like the Spotify on repeat playlist where it's just got my 50 most listened to songs. I love that playlist because just like, oh, this is what I'm actually enjoying at the moment.
Yeah, man.
So the Bad Luck by SL and Kenny Beats I've been loving as well. That's the top at the moment. So that's
man. Have you got any like favorite producers at the moment? Kenny Beats, I'm assuming, is one of them.
Kenny Beats. Hold on, you frozen. I'm gonna go for a wander. There we go.
All good, man.
There we go. Perfect. It's my Wi-Fi. But I like Kenny Beats, The Alchemist. Jetson Maid is talented. Who else producer wise? Take Keith, I really like. He's the one, like the Look Alive. I quite like his beats. And you can always tell when it's a Take Keith beat.
Yeah.
I respect as well. Baby Keem, you know Schoolboy Q's I can't remember the name of it, but the lead single off of one of his albums, the Crash Talk one.
John Mayer.
Whatever that song is called, Baby Keem made that beat, and I didn't know that until I did my research. So that was can't remember off the top of my head. I actually can't remember the name of that song, but I love that song.
I think what you said about recognizing a producer's beat when you hear it, I think that's probably like the biggest compliment you can pay a producer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And is that something that you aspire to do yourself? Like you put it on and people are like, it's Mr. Green, come on.
Yeah. That's definitely. And the beats I'm making, like from I wrote a song to a beat I made at the start of lockdown, and like at the time it was like, oh, this is my production, like this is hard, and like now, like the stuff I'm making now is like, oh, like I can see the improvement for myself, which is really like I like that. So I can see myself getting better with the producing, which is I can't wait for people to hear my beats. Like, I actually can't wait for people to hear my beats.
Oh man, amazing! How would you like? Are they quite similar to what you rap over at the moment? Have you tried to purposely do something a little bit different? Because obviously your stuff is very like when you hear one of your songs, it stands out. It's kind of like, oh yeah, like you can tell that you've already got that quite distinct sound and distinct vibe. So have you tried to differentiate at all from that?
No, not really. As in, like if like I'm now like before, like I'm now just creating beats like I don't know what I'm gonna make, which is exciting. So like I'm making lots of different beats now. So Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's harder to me than rapping. Like rapping now, like crafting bars and stuff seems way easier than producing. But I'm starting to get my own like Mr. Green beat now, which is good. Because like Freddie, for example, like all of his last couple projects, for example, are all so different, and so like he doesn't have a type beat, and like I see people in interviews, like I try and pay attention to why people are actually good. Like Freddie to me is good because he could like it's not it's not a trap beat or it's not a boom bap beat. It's a Freddie song on that beat. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
He's versatile.
And so like that's what I'm going for. Of like I want to be able to hop on like for Mrs. Green too, and then Rugrat. Like I want it to all be different, but then still be myself. And that's what I'm getting with the beats now. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Man. I mean that's important. I think I mean when you listed some of your favourite producers, you know, like Kenny Beats and The Alchemist, both very, very different in terms of style and like The Alchemist is obviously, you know, very classically hip hop, you know. Kenny Beats is more kind of electronic sounding, a little bit more like synthy. But it's cool to kind of chop and change things up a bit. And
definitely.
Yeah, man. I think I mean, The Alchemist is usually one of those producers where if he features on a project, say for example like Damn or Kendrick Lamar, he was on there, and like Jay Electronica's album that dropped earlier this year. The Never Ending Story beat that he made for that, I was just like, it just stands out to your point. You're like, The Alchemist killed that one. Like, you almost go to it for the producer sometimes more than you do the rapper.
Yeah. I would say like, I don't know, like I'm starting to see how important it actually. Oh, one thing I've always thought is that I never wanted to get on the beats. That a lot of me going for the American beats that I was going for was that like I don't like I don't know. Everyone's ear is different, but like I hear certain beats and I'm just like, what you're saying is good, but like you're capped because your beat is just not. It's just not hitting. Like it's not.
Yeah.
To me at least, that is it's objective obviously, but to me it's just not hitting. And so I've always like the look at me beat like those like exaggerated bass. Like I want you to know it's playing. Like I want you to hear like what is that? Like that's what I want. So yeah, those are the beats I'm trying to make, and those are typically the producers that I like. Where they've just got a different like, you know, they're just like it's on like. Yeah, like, that's what I go for typically.
That coupled with your like signature intro, it's Mr. Green.
I think I'm just gonna make that's gonna be the producer tag as well.
Genius.
I was gonna be like
genius, man. Honestly, that is a nice touch, man. But like in terms of like what's next for you, and you said obviously about defining a style and the beats that you're using and this kind of stuff. Because you haven't released like a feature length album yet, have you? Like a proper
No,
LP?
I did an EP on SoundCloud years ago. That was like, that's on private. No one's hearing that again. No one's hearing that, bro. Like, I haven't sat down and done an album though.
But I'm guessing what I'm saying is like now you're kind of developing your sound and your beats and all of that kind of stuff as well. It's just like, the world is yours, man. Do you know what I mean? And like, do you have a plan for like an LP in the kind of not so distant future, or is that something that you're?
It's one of them where I dropped Dance Floor. Dance Floor was part of the Dance Floor EP, where I dropped two other songs alongside it. And while I like those other two songs, Red Flag on SoundCloud is probably one of my favorite songs I've made. But while I like those other two songs, like I remember thinking that I would have rather just have all of the shine on Dance Floor, the single.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword of like, I would like to do an EP and like put that out and like make it lengthy, but like I don't know if it would be received how I feel. I don't know if it'd be received how I would want it to at this stage. If that makes sense. Whereas like a single is a single is easier to push and like to get people to actually listen to. But in terms of like for myself, like we're for sure gonna start. We're stacking up. Like I'm putting beats to the side. I'm writing. Like I definitely want that in the future because
100%, man.
Yeah, like I want an album to be. I've always thought like I need to like I want my like Slow Tie's the Nothing Great About Britain album to me is like perfect for a debut album of like who is Slow Tie, like Nothing Great About Britain, like the whole concept of just like within track one you know what he's on, like he calls our queen the C word within. I'm just like, okay, this, you know, like I'm on board sort of thing.
This is a family show. You can't say cunt on this show.
But yeah, like I definitely want my first album to be like I want it to just be fire, and it will. Like it actually will. But when I'm ready, then like.
No, sure. that's. I think that's a really kind of like thoughtful way of doing it. You know, it'd be easy to just chuck something together and put it out there, but and everyone's different in their approach to making things and releasing stuff. And as an independent artist, I guess you've got to also think about, because I guess that you solely handle like marketing, distribution, like
more or less, yeah.
And I guess as the scope broadens, when the projects get bigger, then the more work you'll need to do and that kind of stuff. So a plan is essential. Do you know what I mean?
What, like, I think, like, I've got a beat. I'm actually so guys these beats are actually like I'm proud of these beats. Like I've got to a point where I'm actually proud of these beats. So the next song that comes out will be. It's 90% written. It will be called More Than a Pretty Face. No, it'll be called Pretty Face. It'll be called Pretty Face on a Mr. Green beat, and like, it's just really good. Like I'm not even on a cocky. Like it's just a good beat, and like, that's what I'm. I think the next single will be that, and then we'll see where that goes. But I've got more. Like I just want to keep making beats and keep rapping on them, and then eventually we'll get a cohesive like body of something to put out. Like, yeah, for sure. That's definitely in the future for sure.
Big up, man. You got to be like feeling your own stuff before you put it out. Do you know what I mean? You have to. And it's not kind of a cocky or arrogant thing. It's just like having pride in what you're doing and faith in what you're doing. Because ultimately, that's the main thing. And if you're not happy with something, then do you know what I mean? It's like I completely see where you're coming from. But Mr. Green, man, before we wrap up, is there anyone you want to shout out or anything you want to plug?
Shout out Tom, shout out Karma Kid, shout out Mel, shout out Luke, family and friends, just everyone around me, really. They keep me sane, and yeah, I need them. And then in terms of plugging, I want to plug TURTLE SANDPIT. That's out now and available on all platforms. The video's out now via Offie Mag. Definitely go and check that out. And yeah, more stuff coming in the future. Definitely more singles with like my production and like and I'm working with other people now, like A1 and Sheck. Shout out Geo Blue, massive shout out to Geo Blue for the Map Studio shows and putting me into contact with lots and lots of different people. Shout out Kits. Yeah, that's about it.
Nice one, man. And where can people find you on social media, Mr. Green?
So I'm mainly on Instagram at Mr. Green 114, and that's just where I'm posting all updates. So yeah.
And it's the like phonetic spelling of Mr., isn't it? Because MISTERGREEN. That is my name. It's not changing. It's not MRGREEN. MISTERGREEN. Indeed, man. Not to be confused with the US producer, Mr. Green. So, like, just want to put that out there. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Who is sick in his own right, but this is Mr. Green, phonetically spelled. Yes. But man, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've been Shotgun the Orcs, all platforms. Share, like, subscribe, all of that. This will be out very, very soon. So take care, stay safe, stay sane, and we're out.
Peace.